Well, the first season's over, and now our conference season starts, and we start right off the bat with a Bowling Green, which I think was preseason picked to be favored in our division. So we've got to face the class of our division of our conference, coming off of a loss that was again another tough loss because it's very much the way we've been able to play games is fight down to the wire and with good football teams, and took the lead a couple of times in the fourth quarter last week, or in the second half. Might have been once or twice, but we took the lead twice in the second half, but did not make the last play against Louisiana Lafayette, and our kids know they know if we're going to win those games, we got to play better. The opponents are good opponents. That's the thing about it. We're not playing teams that went 3-8 last year and teams that weren't very good. These are all bowl teams, and we got to play our best to get to that level, and we are very close. I'm not going to. There's somewhere along the line these close losses need to turn into wins just for your kids' sake. But our players are playing better and better each and every week. The opponents are not getting less. Opponents are getting better, and so I have to keep. And we've talked a lot about this, but man, just don't lose your positive attitude. Don't stop doing what you're doing, and don't never give in to discouragement because you're playing too many good football teams. All three of the 1A of the FBS teams that we played were bowl winners last year, and that we played so far, and we've got a few more coming up next three, not counting just Bowling Green. So we're going to keep our heads. Kids had a great week of practice, great day of practice today. They are excited about playing Bowling Green, and Bowling Green is a very, very good player. Last week, offensively we had Durazio had another big game for us. Franchon Bickley really just for a 140-pound freshman wide receiver had two big touchdown plays for us. Kyle Pohl, after a slow start, came on offensively for us. Johnny Robinson, I think, was our leading tackler on defense. Malachi Freeman, but Justin March again made a big play for us there. Has continued to play well. Need to start out quicker. I mean, we can beat a dead horse, George, but that's true. We talked this week about, and I think it's more about just a little bit of what play selection, what are the things we're trying to do, as much because as starting fast on offense. I think we've got to look at what we're trying to set up and what we're trying to do offensively, give our guys a chance to make bigger plays early. I think that might be as much as anything a little look at the way we're addressing it defensively, but we've got to also defensively continue to improve. I don't think we gave up as many big plays against that team, but they had some drives. But they were a good football team offensively too. So overall, we're going to continue to do what we're trying to do as a football team, get better, and play 4 quarters, play as hard as we can play, and know that we're lining up against very, very good football teams every week, and so that's kind of where we are.
You say that you have to do something different with the play calling. Has it been a collaborative effort between you and AJ?
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, always is, especially your first series or two. Yeah, and I don't know that. Again, it's just, and I don't know that. I don't think you call it necessarily total play call. It's just create some opportunities early for the kids. Now I won't say if we execute perfectly what we did, you drive the ball right down the field too. I know against. I want to say against Central Florida, we had our first offensive drive was a 12-play drive that didn't score in the very first game, and but we're going to look at that. Yeah, but AJ and I, we work collectively on all that. Ultimately I take responsibility for the way our games started out offensively, but it's just a little bit. And then what happens too? When it's a slow start is if we don't do something on the offensive side, then it's very important that the defense get their 3 and out and get off the field too. So we got together. We haven't done as well there. So it's a little bit of everything. Because if we have a 3 and out, 1 or 2, and all of a sudden the team's driving, it's quickly the second quarter. And you don't have a lot of plays offensively.
How do you like going into these games that last several years it's been wide open. You got to score 30, 35 points to win. Not that you haven't been in that position already, but now it really is
Well, I mean, and again, we're playing Bowling Green's number one defense in the conference too. Now they're giving up 19 points a game. So when you place Bowling Green, they are the number 3 scoring offense. They're like everybody else. They're scoring a lot of points. Then they throw the added difficulty of being the number one defense in the conference right now, giving up 19 points a game, and that counts the 42 they gave up to Indiana. But I think that gives you that at least. You don't have to guess what kind of offensive game plan you need to have. You need to have one that's going to be pretty productive. You got to score points, and so you got to be wide open. And I think that's another reason why you have to address that first quarter, because after that first quarter, we're doing pretty good, in putting points on the board. The biggest thing is not whether it's just how good the conference is. Offensively, obviously, it's accentuated by the offensive success of these teams, but it's just how good the conference is. Bowling Green, Ohio, Northern Illinois are our first 3, and those are 3 real good ones. But it's a conference that's understood a long time ago that part of being successful is upsetting a few big non-conference teams and being creative on offense and putting points on the board.
I think I read that BG rolled at 660 yards in offense.
Gets Murray State, 600 yards. Yeah, last year against Morgan State, we did 600 yards and 66 points, and we had these unbelievable stats. Game by game, we're doing as good or better offensively as we did last year, but we don't have that one AA game that like a Morgan State or a Murray State that would be comparative, I believe. But they are. Let me say this: and the difference between Bowling Green this year and last year is not its defense. It's their offense. They were very. I thought they were very conservative. They were solid. This year, they score points. Matt Johnson, their quarterback, is throwing for 250 a game. Their tailback averaging over 100. So they now have a very, very productive, so far, very productive offense so far in their season. And so that's the difference in their football team now, because they were very good on defense last year and very good on defense this year.
What do you see in Matt Johnson? Have you looked
I haven't seen enough of them. I've just read the stats because it's only Tuesday and I'm working with the offense, so I've looked at tons. By Wednesday, I'll look at most of all the defensive film, watch them play, and just so that. But I'm like I say, Chuck. All I'm gonna do is sit down and watch it and have an idea of what Chuck's thinking on that defensive play. But I know that is the he's throwing for about 62%, 63% completion percentage. He's 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but a good bit of yardage. He just gives a little bit of just a good solid quarterback in a system that's not pass happy but balanced.
Now, without giving away any secrets, do you script? I mean, a lot of teams script their first X number of plays.
Most people script, but scripting is not. You understand? When you script plays, you might have these are your favorite 15 plays, but the first time you hit a 3rd and 1, you go off the chart to your 3rd and 1 plays, your 3rd and 3, your third.
By
Yeah.
the time you've gotten through your first 3 or 6 plays, I mean, you might be behind.
A lot of things. Exactly. I've done it so long. I've gone from back where I didn't script. I scripted 3 plays, the first 3 of the game. Actually, it's 1st and 10, 2nd long and short, 3rd short, long or medium, and I got that done. After that, it was all off the cuff. Because of just knowing what you don't know what a team's going to do in preparation for the week until you line up against them. They've had a whole week to prepare for you and put something different in. But I like to script about 15 plays, and that way we all practice them, and then that's why I'm saying is the plays that we call, if we execute them, we know what we want to run, and we got to execute them, do a better job of executing them than we did last week. The first plays, when we looked at our plays that we ran last week to open the drive, I think we had 9 negative plays. That means we either somebody missed a block or we didn't run it to the right area. And if those are the 9 we practiced all week, we've got to really address that. If we practiced them all week to be our first 9, and 9 out of 10 of them, we don't execute as well as the defense executes. We've got to do a better job of executing it, or maybe do a little change, do some things they're not ready for.
How many of your plays going into a game are new plays for this week?
Y'all are you're in a theory movie. 5 or 10. You got to have 5 or 10 things that are just for the team.
Right.
You might look at all 5 teams that play, 4 teams that played them this year, and see this team did 3 things that really hurt them. This team did 3 things that really hurt them. this thing to 2 or 3, and then say, okay, which of those can we adapt to what we do, or which of our plays can we adapt to be some of that? So you're going to try to take advantage of what you just like they're going to do to us. They're going to study, but that's pretty common. Is that each team that played them spent an entire week trying to find the best plays to attack them with, and you're going to study and see that. But you also don't want to go too far away from what you do best. If you're good, if you work on something as your style or your base plays, that's what you're going to be most effective with. So that's why I say 5 maybe plays that are special for them. When I say plays, it might be different variations of a play that you already have.
In your mind, what's the big difference between a conference and non-conference schedule?
Well, right now is not nearly as much as, if we were back-to-back winning teams or contending for a conference, there's right now, game number 2, win number 2 is the number one goal you got. And then after that, it's, whether it be the Eastern Division or bowl type of thing that you go. There's not a whole lot. Really, because of where we are in building our program, there's not nearly as much difference how you mentally think about non-conference to conference. But as of today, there is a chance those kids have a fresh start. We're 0-0 in our conference. We got a fresh start. We're as good as anybody. We have as good a chance as anybody of winning our division. And so that's the great thing about being in a conference, is knowing that this is what's going to our goal of competing in our conference, being competitive in our conference, and playing for our conference title. And those things are all in front of us. We haven't faced any of them yet, and we've had some pretty. Central Florida got after us pretty good out of that. It's been down to the last play every game,
So we know it's kind of, even in the NFL or in college, like the heyday of quarterbacks.
Right.
But do you ever get tired every week? Every quarterback's really good.
Well,
If they weren't good, they wouldn't be in there.
Well, because all the offenses are they're driven, quarterback driven. It's almost, they're quarterback driven. As long as teams are going to throw the ball as much as they do and spread things out, then you're not going anywhere without a quarterback. So every quarterback that plays, if you're going to be a good team, you have to have a good quarterback. And right now, the MAC is playing very good football, top to bottom. You've got 10 out of 12 teams, 10 out of 13, or 11 out of 13 teams are winning records are pretty close. And so because the offensive systems are pass driven, you got to have good quarterbacks. And you'd be in trouble if you get out there it's like West Virginia was. Their coach, they're a very good pass team, but they're struggling right now because I think they're struggling at quarterback. And all of a sudden, their offense is built around a quarterback. And until they get a young one developed, it's ugly. It's awful. I'd say that because that's my alma mater, and we like what they do offensively. I know how much they're struggling. They got 125 or 130 yards of offense last week. But so yeah, I think because the conference at some point decided they were going to be wide open and throw the football around, everybody recruits to have a good quarterback, and it's a good part of the country for quarterbacks. So it's always been, to me, Ohio and Western Pennsylvania has always been a great area historically for quarterbacks. Kids know how to play football, know how to play quarterback.
Can we expect to see any changes in the starting lineup?
I don't believe so. I think everything is pretty much the same. Both sides of the ball. We haven't anticipated anything. If you didn't ask about Nick Hirschman, he's getting some reps now. So I think that's day to day. But he got reps today in his bid to come back. But I think that'll be day to day until Saturday.
I was thinking more about on defense with C.J. Mizell, for instance, because he seems to be coming on.
I think that'll take care of itself. He's probably in a more limited role because of where he is in the system and understanding the scheme. There's certain down and distances he's better suited for than others. If it's a rundown, it might be better suited, or a blitz situation. But I think his just a matter of him playing more when he feels more comfortable with our system and knowing what to do on every play. He has a knack for making big plays. I know that much.
I thought maybe the key moment of that game was the onside kick.
It ended up being, I think you'd have to say, is there one thing they did that really finished it, didn't finish it off because he went on to play with the one that gave them the deciding edge was the onside kick, very gutsy call, and well executed. He made 3 calls that would be different, gutsy or different, and 2 of them didn't work. One would be the punt fake field goal. No, it'd be throwing the ball when the game was about over, and could have cost him. Both of those could have cost him. But when you say, well, there's one that worked, and we worked on that, but when it's perfectly executed, you almost have to you have to go up there with that much time left and put all 5 men up on the 1 yard off the 10 yards apart and line them up ready for the onside. And then you got a chance. Then you got a real good chance of recovering it. But then also you're not going to return the ball because 99% of the time they're just going to. If you lined up like that, they're going to kick it deep. But they did a good job of it. And I think the key is you got to do it when people don't expect it. If you do it when it's expected or then it's not a gutsy call. You got to do it when it's. I mean, if he loses that one right there, we're up 3, and he loses that one. No. I mean, no, he's up 3, but if we get the ball back, go back up on that place, and after he's got the lead, then it becomes a tough call. But I do believe, I think without a doubt, that was the one that the one that worked. But if you stop them there, they still have to drive the length of the field and score. They had 2 drives there. They had a 7-play, and that was a 5-play, 50-something yard drive, and before that was a 7-play, 60, 70-yard drive, and somewhere along the line, you can't let that happen. They had 3 long drives in the second half.
When you signed or when you saw or signed Bickley this summer, what did you think at that time? Did you think he would play this year?
Didn't have an idea whether he would play this year or not. He came to our football camp the summer before his senior year, and he was the fastest guy we had ever timed, and he was quicker than any quick guys we had, but might have been 135 pounds, and everybody shied away because 5'6" at that time, probably 130, but as he played the season, he's just sitting there saying, well, we can't afford not to have a playmaker like that. Here we are talking about we need more playmakers, and we'd like to get more local guys that are playmakers, but we don't want to take people that nobody else wanted. And we were the only one, Division I, that made the offer. But we knew a little bit more about him, but we didn't. The thing that makes him that's different than a lot of young men is he maturity-wise. I mean, as little as his size is, his confidence, demeanor is as big as a giant. He goes out there and not intimidated to play against Michigan, or not intimidated to play against guys in a big league, and goes out there and most times guys, the freshmen that don't play, usually it's just they're a little bit nervous, they're just trying to get settled mentally. He's very mature that way. Yet he's a light, easygoing, light-spirited guy. He's not one of these focused, kids that have nothing on their mind but football. He's playful and kind of a fun guy. So he's just a guy that's going to get better and better and better as he goes along. And he starts out with a lot of the key again is not just his talent, but his talent and his just a confidence in himself.
Would you like to see him get up to maybe 140?
We were thinking, he's 140. He's 141 yesterday, and I think, I would say 160 by the time he leaves here in 4 years. He could be a 160-pound guy, and that's but if you can't touch him, you can't get a hold of him. You can't. Doesn't matter what he is. So, no, we were just wondering that saying, well, how big he's going to be before he leaves here, and. But all that'll take care of itself because he will be in a weight room. He'll be eating 3 squares a day and be in a weight room, and he'll get a little bigger. He's a little guy. He's a big conversation piece, not much. I mean, it really is. We talk about him a lot.
Just to see, I saw him light it up against Walsh Jesuit when I was covering high school.
Yeah.
And I was shocked at how small he was.
In high school, I mean, if he was, I think that's one of the reasons he's so comfortable with his size, because he's always been the smallest guy on the field. Even when he was in high school, he was smaller than other high school guys.
See, he would run patterns, and there wouldn't be a guy within 10 yards of him. Within 10, he's wide open.
Yeah. Well, like I said, in that leg, they were probably too afraid to get too close because he'd run by him. But he's also going to be facing more pressure now because teams are starting. I mean, the next team we play, we're going to see how well he did that game, and they're going to say, okay, we got to have a plan, make sure we cover him, and so but we have some others. Sid DeRazio's having an outstanding year. L.T. Smith, Dillard caught a couple passes, and so we're there all. That's all been a part of it.